There are moments in history where wars don't begin with a sudden explosion. They begin with silence, a buildup of tension that no one sees until it's already too late. Tonight, we're not asking how the Russia-Ukraine war was fought. We're asking something far more uncomfortable. What or who truly started it? Because depending on who you ask, the blame changes, the timeline shifts, and the truth becomes blurry. And maybe, just maybe, this war didn't begin where the world thinks it did. This is the mystery nobody has fully solved. Before the world saw tanks, before headlines screamed invasion, there was a time when both Russia and Ukraine lived in a fragile, quiet balance. It wasn't perfect peace, but it was a world where people still believed tomorrow would look like today. Ukraine was facing economic struggles, yes, but it was hopeful. Young people believed Kiev could become a bridge between East and West. Families planned futures, businesses grew slowly, and the idea of a full-scale war with Russia felt impossible, like something only conspiracy theorists whispered about. And in Moscow, the message was stability. Russia projected control, strength, order. No one believed that two nations, with shared history, shared culture, shared language in many regions, could one day pull each other into a conflict that would shake the entire planet. But peace can be deceptive. It can be the moment right before the storm forms. And in this moment, nobody knew a fuse had already been lit. Years earlier, quietly, and in the shadows, the world didn't see it yet. But something was already moving. Crimea wasn't just a location on a map. It was the match that finally touched gasoline. February 2014. While global news casually covered politics in Eastern Europe, something darker and more coordinated started happening in Crimea. Strange movements, unknown forces, a sudden shift in control almost overnight. Buildings were seized, administrative offices, airports, communication networks. But here's the part that pushed the world into confusion. No one officially claimed responsibility. Soldiers appeared, armed, organized, professional. Yet they wore no flags, no identifying badges, no country's insignia. They were nicknamed Little Green Men. Who sent them? Were they Russian special units sent quietly? Were they separatists financed by someone powerful? Or was this a silent takeover that had been planned years before anyone noticed? Crimea didn't explode with war. It shifted hands with eerie precision. It was surgical, cold, calculated. To this day, analysts still debate what truly happened behind the scenes. Because Crimea wasn't just a political moment. It was the moment where peace ended and denial began. From here onward, the world realized something had changed. But it still didn't know who had really pulled the first trigger. Crimea became the spark. But the question remained, spark set by who? They didn't come with flags. They didn't come with announcements. They simply appeared, like ghosts stepping out of a fog. Heavily armed men, wearing modern uniforms without a single symbol of nationality, began controlling checkpoints and strategic positions. The world gave them a name because no official title existed: Little Green Men. These mysterious forces were disciplined, calm, efficient, no panic, no chaos. They moved like units that had trained for this moment thousands of times before. They looked like soldiers, but officially, they were nobody. They belonged to no army. No state, no nation. Russia said they weren't Russian troops. Ukraine said they were invading forces. The West said they were covert special operations. But no one could prove anything. And that is where the puzzle became darker. These unidentified men didn't need to fire constantly. Their presence alone shifted power. Roads changed hands quietly. Borders changed identity without paperwork. It was war without admitting it was war. Some journalists tried to get answers. Every soldier had the same reply. We're here to protect. Protect what, or protect who? No one would explain. And in that silence was the real threat. Because when battles are fought openly, you see the enemy. You understand the battlefield. But when a conflict is carried by nameless fighters, with no insignia, the battlefield becomes invisible. This was not just military strategy. This was psychological warfare, confusion used as a weapon. To this day, intelligence agencies still debate their origin. Were they elite Russian Spetsnaz units on a mission without flags? Were they contractors? Mercenaries? Hybrid soldiers paid to vanish after their job was done. History saw them. The world filmed them. But not one country officially owned them. And sometimes, the most dangerous forces in a war are the ones no one can legally blame. As strange forces tightened their grip on Crimea, another battle began. Not on the ground, but on screens, headlines, and social feeds. Suddenly, the world was drowning in narratives. Russian media insisted this wasn't an invasion and it was protection. Protection of Russian-speaking communities. Protection of heritage. Protection of territory that, in their view, always belonged to Moscow anyway. Ukrainian media fired back, calling it a silent occupation. A theft of land while the world blinked, a violation carried out behind polite diplomatic language. And Western media, they framed it as an illegal takeover, but they too struggled. Because without flags on uniforms, there was no clean evidence. No signature, no official declaration. This was no longer just a conflict of guns. It became a war of perception, tweets, news clips, political statements. Each side shaping a different reality. One event, but multiple truths. And here's where it becomes chilling. People don't fight only because of bullets. They also fight because of stories. Who lied first? Who hid the truth? Who controlled the narrative? To this day, no one fully agrees because in this war, information wasn't just reporting, it was ammunition. While the world was still trying to understand what happened in Crimea, another mystery quietly surfaced in eastern Ukraine, Donbas. Suddenly, men calling themselves separatists began taking control of towns, government buildings, and whole districts. They were armed. They were organized. They had military-grade equipment, not cheap street weapons, and they appeared almost overnight. But here's the unsettling part. No one clearly knew where they came from. Ukraine claimed these weren't local rebels, but trained fighters supported from the outside. Russia claimed they were simply freedom fighters, ordinary civilians rising against Kiev's government. Western analysts suspected something deeper, something funded, engineered, or at least encouraged by powerful hands. But again, like Crimea, this movement had no fingerprints, no official sponsors, no official command, no "we sent them" announcement. Just force. Somewhere money had to come from, weapons had to come from, training had to come from. Yet every player involved pointed the blame at someone else. And Donbas became a fog of denial, a place where every side could fight, while pretending they weren't actually fighting. It wasn't a declared war. It was a war that acted like it didn't exist. And that is the most dangerous type of war of all, one where nobody admits they are responsible. There is one theory that continues to divide analysts, journalists, and world leaders, not because it's dramatic, but because it touches a nerve. NATO. To Russia, NATO moving closer to its borders wasn't just politics, it was pressure. Decades of tension, decades of distrust. Every time a country near Russia joined NATO, Moscow felt the walls closing in. Ukraine wasn't officially joining, but it was talking, leaning, cooperating with the West more than before. And in global power games, perception can be more dangerous than reality. The United States and European Union insisted that Ukraine had the right to choose its own direction, to decide who it aligned with. But in the Kremlin's view, this wasn't just choice, it was threat. A shift that could tilt the entire balance of military power in Eastern Europe. Was this the trigger? Some experts say Russia reacted out of fear of being surrounded. Others argue Russia used NATO as an excuse, a cover, to mask deeper ambitions. No one can agree, but one fact remains. You don't need a missile to start a war. Sometimes, all you need is the fear of one. Even today, as more than a decade later, there is still no single, universally accepted explanation for how this war truly started. Instead, there are theories, dozens of them, competing, contradicting, each one with evidence, and each one with holes. Some believe Russia had been planning this for years, waiting patiently for the perfect moment to reclaim influence over former Soviet territory. Others claim Ukraine's internal political struggles, the protests, the government shifts, the corruption battles, created a vacuum that allowed foreign forces to walk right in. Another theory says outside powers wanted this conflict, that the more the region stayed unstable, The more global players could justify military budgets, strategic alliances, and new borders of influence. And then there are the darker theories, the ones whispered, not published, that this wasn't about land, or language, or protection, but about control. Control of resources, control of gas pipelines, control of geopolitical advantage. In the end, every version has supporters. Every version has critics. And every version claims to be the real truth. But the most chilling part of all is this. If no one can agree on who started the war, then no one can agree on who can end it. Because a war without a clear beginning is a war that might never have a clear ending. But here's the question almost nobody dares to ask. What if this war didn't start in 2014 at all? What if Crimea, Donbas, NATO tension weren't the beginning, but only the moment the curtain finally lifted? Because some historians believe the roots go far deeper, back to old Soviet fractures, broken promises after the Cold War, agreements signed, then quietly ignored, intelligence operations that started long before a single soldier ever appeared in Crimea. Meaning this conflict may not be a sudden event, but a slow fuse that burned for decades. Maybe this war didn't start with soldiers. Maybe it started with maps, with ambition, with fear, with mistrust. And if the beginning is blurred, if we don't even know when the first move was made, then it means the origin of this war is not in one moment, but in a chain of hidden decisions nobody ever admitted publicly. And that leaves us with one terrifying possibility. Maybe we never witnessed the start, only the explosion. So we arrive at the same place the world still stands today, staring at a conflict whose beginning no one can truly agree on. Was it Crimea? Was it Donbas? Was it NATO? Or something buried decades earlier? The uncomfortable truth is, every answer leads to another unanswered question. And now, it's your turn. What do you believe truly started this war? Was this planned in secret? Or did the world sleepwalk into it? Tell me your theory in the comments below. Because maybe, just maybe, the truth isn't hidden in classified files or government reports. Maybe it's hidden in the questions we dare to ask. This mystery is still not solved.